What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. And yesterday, I went 2-1 again. So profitable day. Top play did win. Um, I don't know why I can't remember what the plays were yesterday, Vino, but I did go 2-1 regardless. How's everything for you yesterday? How you doing today?
Things were good yesterday. Had a 2-0. One in the W was the Sparks game over the total against Washington. Went way over the total, 99-80 final. That worked, as did a NBA Summer League game, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks. That one over. Got there as well. So 2-0 yesterday, on the hook here this afternoon early. Got one home in a little revenge spot. We played Minnesota first quarter against Phoenix. That worked. But I played way too early yesterday afternoon, Skee, playing the Chicago Atlanta game over before the injuries came out. And last night I had to scurry back and try and try and cover up for that mess. And it turns out to be a mess, boy. Chicago just hasn't been able to score here. So I'm going to wind up 1-1 this afternoon.
Yeah, I was on a show last night with Kyle, and we talked about that game, and I talked all about the team total under for Chicago. I didn't take it, of course, but
Mm.
I do remember what I had yesterday. I had Connecticut plus 16. That was the $5 Tuesday play. That was my best bet. It was a winner, and the first half over 84.5 was a winner, and then I lost on Brittany Sykes over 15.5 points. Didn't even try. She was just I didn't like that at all. I'll tell you that. um, but we got three more games here for today, and see if we can get to some more money. Got a couple games going on right now as well. Finishing up fourth quarter of one, and maybe we can get some halftime looks on Phoenix and Minnesota. We'll see. All right, first game we'll talk about here today looks like Valkyries and Storm. This game opened up Storm minus 5.5, hasn't really moved. Total open 158.5, and it's down as low as 155.5. Injuries, I do not see any on there. Pretty clean right there. This will be a rest advantage spot for the Storm. They last played on the 13th compared to the Valkyries who played on the 14th. Both teams are off of losses. Seattle lost to Washington as a favorite, and Golden State at the end of that last game versus Phoenix lost on a free throw. So this one is a little tough here, Vino. I say with both teams off a loss, you should get a good effort from both of them. Um, two really good defensive teams as well. I mean, I can understand why the total has come down a little bit here. Let me just remind myself. It's come down about 2 points. I think I'm in agreement with that. And if Valkyries would have won yesterday, I would have been looking a little bit more to the Storm probably. But or not yesterday, but the other day. But because they didn't, like, and the way that they lost, I just think they're going to play really hard, and they've been really good all year when they're catching points. So I can't go against the Valkyries plus 5.5, and I do think it's more of an under game. How do you see this one, Vino?
Yeah, in terms of how they lost that game, Ski, we alluded to it a little bit yesterday. A free throw, a foul committed against Alyssa Thomas with 1 second left. Seattle, or excuse me, Golden State head coach Natalie Nakasi, just losing off of a free throw, that to me hurts. Head coach didn't like the fact that she lost with 1 second left to a free throw either. So maybe Golden State comes with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I know this. They've played Seattle twice so far this season. They've beaten them pretty well 2 times. Both were at home, though. And we know that Golden State's been they're feisty everywhere, to use your word, but they've been feistier at home. I don't like what I've seen out of Seattle's offense the last couple of games. I mean, it's like it's reverting backwards again. They had that really nice win on the road against the Liberty, and then heading into break, your next 3 games are 2 with Connecticut and 1 at home with Washington, and you get beat straight up by Connecticut and Washington. And in the game that you won, you didn't even look that good, 79-65. So I don't know what's up with Seattle. In these games against Golden State, and this will be the first time they played Golden State here in Seattle, but in these games against Golden State, NECA hasn't played all that well. 5 of 16 combined in 2 games, just 14 points against this team. Could be a little bit of, like you say, really good defense out of the Valkyries, or it could just have been a couple of poor performances shooting wise. I don't know. We know that venue's pretty tough there. Here's where I looked, Skee, after I read this quote from Seattle head coach Noel Quinn, who, in response to the team scoring 10 points in the first 10 minutes against the Mystics, so a 10-point first quarter, she said the team must correct that in order to beat the Valkyries tonight. And when I see coaches or notable players talk about needing to get off the quick starts, I take that pretty seriously most of the time. So I looked towards Seattle in the first quarter here at home, double revenge spot. Head coach says we got to get off to a quicker start. And they're only a 1.5-point favorite first quarter. So if I were to look in this game, I haven't bet it yet, but I think that would be my play would be first quarter Seattle to win by a bucket, just adding all those elements up. But overall, I kind of agree with both of these line moves, and I agree with a lot of what you said that points toward Golden State and under as far as full game is concerned. Yeah, hit that mute button, Skee.
My bad. Yeah, Jeff likes the under, and M. He's mentioning Storm just off of a bad loss and got blown out last time versus the Valkyries. Thinks that maybe they should give a good effort here, and I can understand wanting to get on the Storm early. Veno, Justin Coolin also liking the Storm. I can understand. I do think it'll be a lower scoring game. I'll say that. Let's keep going down the list. We have Indiana and New York. This one opened up. Well, I feel like it wasn't open on the West. Maybe it was open on FanDuel or somewhere else at the lower numbers, but it didn't open up over here. So the opener I have is -9 and as high as 10.5 right now. Total open 165.5, and it's as low as 163. For the injury report, Caitlin Clark has not been ruled out yet, but I mean, she's questionable. I wouldn't expect her to play personally. And we know John Quill Jones is still out for this Liberty team. The Fever did play yesterday. They were able to squeak out a win versus the Sun. Now they have to see the Liberty here on the road. Liberty have started to play a little bit better lately, Veno. I think they've won 3 of their last 4. We know how important Fevic is in the lineup for them. Do you think they keep it going here? Do you think Caitlin Clark is going to play? And do you think New York can win by double digits?
Yeah, the interesting question here, Skee, is that, already, and it hasn't been, it's been announced for maybe 2-3 days, but the 3-point contest at the All-Star game, which features Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu, you would have got that matchup here. I would think that Caitlin Clark, if she can go, would go here. I think that you put team first before All-Star weekend, but as I thought that, I'm not so sure.
She got hurt in the last game, Veno.
Yeah, with less than 40 seconds left. The fact that they got pushed by Connecticut so hard last night in a game where they were 16-point favorites makes her be on the court with less than 40 seconds left and get hurt. Tweak the groin. We don't know what it is. If you ask me, she was crying at the end of the game. I don't think she'll go here. I don't even know if she'll be able to go where the All-Star game is concerned. What I was trying to weigh back and forth is what would she deem more important? Is it more important to the league to have her available for the All-Star game? Is it more important to her to go for her team? They played back-to-backs and they got a win last night. Maybe you rest her here. I can't help but think, Skee, that it's reminiscent. I'll go to an NBA comparison here. It's kind of reminiscent of what happened to AD. Came back after that abductor or whatever it was, and then 2 games later hurt it again, and he was out for a while. Not so sure what this injury is, but we'll have to wait and see. All that being said, if she can't go, these numbers are going to be affected for sure. But this is why Indiana got Ari McDonald, because her first game, she got used to running the team without Caitlin Clark being available. Then as she got more games under her belt. She looked fine running the Indiana Fever. So while she may not be Caitlin Clark as a passer, she certainly is a more than capable point guard here. And to me, there's a couple of things here when I look at Indiana and what they might be able to produce offensively. New York's defense has been bad. Last 10 games, the New York defense, 84.9 per game, ninth in the WNBA. Indiana scoring is second in the league last 10 games. And those last 10 games, 5 of them are without Caitlin Clark. Liberty, number 11, last 10 games in effective field goal percentage allowed. Indiana offense, number 3. New York, 8 in defensive rating. Indiana, 2 in offensive rating. I mean, New York doesn't defend the paint last 10 games, number 10 in paint field goal percentage. Indiana offense, number 2 in that category. So there's a lot of matchups here that could work for Indiana. I take that and you weigh that with New York, which, listen, Sabrina Ionescu was 3 for 20 from the floor the other day. 15%, 0 of 7 from three-point range. To me, that spells bounce back where she's concerned. Natasha Cloud was 1 of 5, 0 for 2. The starting backcourt was 4 of 25. I think you get a bounce back there. Liberty only shot 38.5%. They do lead the league in points scored, 86.3, and I think there's a revenge motive here. First time around, they get beat 102-88 on national television on a Saturday afternoon by Indiana in Indiana. So I know New York doesn't forget that. And I'll say this, they scored 88 points in that game without Jonquel Jones and without Leonie Phoebus. She was playing Eurobasket at the time. So two of their 3 best three-point shooters. Phoebus is shooting 50% from 3. Jones over 43% from 3. And they still got to 88. Ionescu and Breanna Stewart had big games. Their team total here is 86.5. I don't think that they should have any problem getting over 86.5 here. If I think that way, and what I said earlier about the Liberty defense being bad, you probably like full game total too, but I would wait on it because as soon as they say that Caitlin Clark is out, you're going to go from 163 probably down to 161, maybe lower. You probably get a better price later. But I think both of those overs work here, Skee. I think the Liberty will score and score big. Revenge motive for them, and also a bounce back for Ionescu and her shooting, and potentially a full game over. But I would wait on that one because I think you're going to get a better price.
Man, I kind of disagree. Here, Rob. I mean, both teams are capable of playing defense. Let me just go. I want to look at last 5 games here over at the Money Baller. Both teams are capable. Liberty just held Atlanta to 72, Vegas to 78, Seattle to 79, even though they lost. Sparks to 79. Liberty are playing solid defense. Last 5 game stats, they're the number 1 defensive rated team. So I think that they can continue that, especially in a revenge spot like you mentioned. And for the Fever, I mean, it's been a little bit shaky in a couple games, but one thing I will say is if Caitlin Clark doesn't play, the defense gets better. The offense also gets a little bit worse. The defense gets better. So that means less points to me. And the Fever being on the second of a back-to-back, I think they could die out offensively, especially as the game goes on. Another thing I just want to mention is I've been listening to a few of the players' interviews lately, and they're asked about what helps them be successful on offense or what helps them be successful in general. And the first thing Kelsey Mitchell said it, she said, it's really our defense. And she just, elaborates on how the defense is most important. Yesterday, Sophie Cunningham says the same thing in her post-game interview. So I see this as more of a defensive game. And the numbers already dropped, probably because they expect Caitlin Clark to be out. I don't think it's going to, you're not going to get a better number if you like under. If you like over, yeah, you should probably wait. But I think I'm more of under in this game. UCapper in the building says, it's okay to disagree, Skee.
It's okay.
Mark looks like he had a nice little first half on the Mercury plus 6.5. I need him for the full game. So I need him to fight, Mercury, keep it up.
Mhm.
um, let's see, a couple other people happy with that Mercury. I guess real quick here, 33-37 at the end of the first half. I didn't get to watch that second quarter as much because I've been on here with you. Um, but the second half number, I saw a 4.5, or I still see one at BetMGM, but I see a 5.5 popping up. Fives mostly. I mean, second half is moving a lot towards the Lynx. It is a revenge spot for the Lynx. Um, they have been a really good second half team. Do you think the line is moving in the right direction there, or the total second half total is 76.5? Maybe they think they continue to see really good defense. I don't want anything to do with the total. I'll tell you that right now. But the side, well, I already know what I need to win, so I'm not betting the second half. But I'm curious if you have an opinion, Vino.
Yeah, if you already have the Mercury and you have them plus 10, then there's no reason to take 5.5 in the second half. It's basically the same thing. Um,
Right.
so you stick with what you have and see what happens. 21-10, and I thought maybe it's in in response to what Ronald said, and it's okay to disagree. I mean, I did have Minnesota first quarter. They win. Phoenix first half. They win. 21-10 first quarter gets turned around by Phoenix 23-16 second quarter. And perhaps a lot of that is due to the fact that my line of thinking real quick was they might have a little bit of trouble ball handling to start the game. Really no guards on this team. Alyssa Thomas would have to take over most of the ball handling, be shaky early. Looks like they got it stabilized in the second quarter, and now we see where it goes from here. I'd be a little bit scared. I think you said it best because Minnesota's been a good second half team that we saw it the other night. You and I actually texted back and forth about it. Cheryl Reeve went into the locker room disappointed with the way the team played in the first half. They came out and were fired up second half. This is the last half of basketball before you head into the All-Star break. So I think you'll get top effort from both teams. It's just a question of, who's got the better personnel here. Man, I don't know. I think I would lay off this thing entirely, especially if I'm you and you already have Phoenix. I would just say, you know what, I'll ride this out.
All right, that's that. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. I will say, Lynx are a really good second half, so we gonna have to fight for this one.
Just bet
Um,
it down to 5.
yeah, we're gonna have to fight for this one. I know that for sure. Let's get to the next game, the last game on the slate for today. Um, Aces and Wings. This one opened up -5.5. I see. I mean, it's kind of all over. We'll call six the consensus. Total open 172 and is down as low as 169.5. As far as an injury report, Cheyenne Parker Tyus remains out. She did just have a child, so that's why she's been away. Dallas Wings, we have Carrington listed as questionable. Segrist still remains out. The Aces, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they do have the rest advantage here. 3 games compared to 2. Both teams do have a little bit of rest. The Wings, this is the second game home after a pretty long road trip for the Aces, um, and having a few days off in between. For the Wings, it's their first game after a 3-game road trip. We usually call that a flat spot, right, Vino? And man, I can't help but think they might be extra flat today. Like the Wings, in my mind, they don't really have too much to play for. Like their season, they're not making noise this year. That's just how it is what it is. And game before the break, Enrique just came back and they looked absolutely terrible. Like I don't see much changing in this game before the break. Is kind of what I'm hinting at here. Um, for the Aces, though, I do feel like the game is more important to them. They're 1 game below 500 after underperforming as much as they did. If they can go into the break just at 500, I think they feel a lot better about themselves. So I think the Aces would be a little bit more of the side that I trust, and I think they can really name their number. I'm going to check the team total while I pass it to you. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, it's hard for me to lay that type of price with Las Vegas, but that being said, it's just as hard to take that price with Dallas off of what I just saw in that 3 game. They headed into that 3 game road trip pretty confident. They were coming off a win against Phoenix. 98-89, they beat that team without Enrique. I think we talked about that last week. How it looked like, Paige and a couple others were talking about how they shared and things were good, and the head coach was happy to go back and play Phoenix again in Phoenix, and they got destroyed by a shorthanded Phoenix team. Then they got destroyed by Chicago. Then they got destroyed by Indiana. It's hard to take that team. It really is. My inclination always with them is to look at the over first, see if you can get this game up and over. And the Las Vegas defense still is a roller coaster, Skee. I mean, one game they look like, Becky yells and screams and they come out and they play well, but they gave up 102 in regulation to Golden State last game. I mean, they're just not there defensively, and Dallas certainly can take advantage of teams with their offense. Reading a couple of quotes from Paige Becker this morning. The process is slow. We're not going to change what we do. We're still young, blah, 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 blah. None of that indicates a win, but they do play better at home. And the Aces, again, have been so up and down. I'm afraid to bet that side. Tell you the truth, this game has come down a little bit toward the under. And in my head, I think that's because they just gave up 102, the Aces did. And their focus probably tonight will be on defense. Not that they're a good defensive team, but when they do focus, which is once every other game, I guess, they do play better D. So maybe it doesn't get over. I had a lot of conflicts back and forth with this game, didn't play. But like I said, man, I hate myself for wanting to bet Dallas +6 so badly, but it's kind of the way I would lean if, in fact, I had to bet it, which I haven't.
Mark likes Paige Becker's over 17.5 points. Can't talk you off of that. Jeffrey says scared they bounce back after that horrible performance versus Indy. Jeffrey says also highest total on the board is an overreaction to the Golden State game. Feels like the total is too high. 170 is about where you should be for Wings games. If Wings games are lying under 170, you should automatically look at the over. That's how I feel. I'll say this here, Aces defense has not been the greatest. If you trust the Mercury to score, if you trust the Wings to score, this game should definitely clear 170. Just looking at what they've been giving up lately, right? Let's go to the Wings. 102 to Indiana. They gave up 87 to Chicago, which is the team total for Aces tonight. They gave up 102 to Phoenix, 89 to Phoenix. Like, they'll give it up. And we can look at the last few times these teams have played. Aces 90 plus. Wait. Team total is 87.5. So they've cleared that in their last 5 meetings versus Dallas. One this season, the rest in other seasons, but this Dallas defense is ass. That's the moral of the story. So it's over or nothing in this game. And I would just trust the Aces to do a little bit more of the scoring. That's how I feel. Anything else to add there, Veno?
Real quick, I'll say this. When Enrique came back the other day, she immediately went 0 for 10 from the floor. 0 for 3 from 3. But what they tried in that game was kind of like what Indiana tried in Caitlin Clark's first game back. They left Ari McDonald in as starting point guard, moved Caitlin Clark to small forward. Here, they let J.J. Quinterly play point guard as in the starting lineup and moved Enrique to small forward. You probably have to change that back to what they had to start the season, right? Probably have to move Paige back to handling the ball and move Enrique back to the 2 and get Isaiah James back into the 3 spot. But I don't know that they'll do that. I'm with you, Skee. You know how I am with these Dallas games. I love to play them over, and my first instinct would be to play this game over. It scares me that Becky gets so angry with this team off miserable defensive performances, and maybe they show up here. But I can't count on it because they've been bad. 50-60% of the time they've been bad defensively this year. So hard game for me to gauge.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. almost second half for the game that's still going. We'll move it over to best bets. Not going to put anything up on the screen for today. This is the last day of WNBA before All Star break, but we will be back, I believe, on Tuesday. And yeah, all I'll say is I do have a best bet up and available on the site. If you guys want to check it out, you know where to find it over at Wager Talk. Um, Vino, I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote, and if you have best bet for the show, feel free to share. If you don't, all good.
Let's go right to best bets here, Skee. We're, like I say, closing in on the All Star break here for the WNBA, and since I don't handicap baseball, it will be CFL, Canadian Football League, for the weekend, and Summer League too. By the way, 6-1 in the last 7 Summer League plays, so we have had a pretty good gauge on that. I'm going to go back to where we started here, the Fever and the Liberty. My first glance at that game, I thought automatically I want to play Liberty team total over. I played it. It'll be my best bet for the show. The number's 86.5. I just think the Liberty comes out and scores here. It is a revenge motive for them in this game. Caitlin Clark, the one thing that she does do well on the defensive side, she's the second leading defensive rebounder on Indiana. So some of that rebounding goes away when you have Ari McDonald in there. Perhaps you get some second chances out of New York. But I think Sabrina, 3 of 20 last game, that's got to be different. She had 34 against this team the first time around. So for me, it's going to be over 86.5 team total, New York Liberty. That'll be my best bet.
All right, today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm just going to tell you ways I'm looking because I could add a few. I could add a couple. I'm still thinking about it, and there's still time. So it's either right now Golden State or under. Maybe even that means Seattle team total under. If I put them both together, I'm going with I would go with the under in the Indiana and New York game, and the last game is Aces or over. So actually Aces or Aces team total over. Those are what I think are the best bets for today. Am I playing them all? I have not yet. Could I? Very well could. So that's going to be the show for today. Vino, appreciate you coming on and breaking these games down with me. Chat, I always appreciate you all as well. You guys help make the show what it is. And for all of you else watching out there, Twitch, Kick, X, Apple, Spotify, you are appreciated. Like I said, there will be no show until Tuesday when WNBA returns from All-Star. So best of luck on all of your action in your other sports or whatever it is you do in the meantime. And we will catch you guys when we return.